Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this expert call that was very, very last minute. I think it was about like 30 hours ago, Josh, that we said, right, let's do it. You were like, let's do it like right now. This immediate second, and we
That's
just
how I work, baby. That's how I work. You could be dead tomorrow.
exactly. It was completely last minute. So thank you so much for everybody that is attending. Everybody's watching the live streams right now. We wanted to get a number of people at short notice so that we do have some kind of questions and answers at the end, and so that Josh can be put on the spot a little bit, because you like that as well, don't you, Josh?
Oh, I love being on the spot.
Brilliant. So for anybody that hasn't seen my email, hasn't seen Josh's introduction, I'm going to do a super fast introduction, and then I'm going to let the man of the moment speak, because that's what we're all here to hear, right? So, Josh, aside from founding, exiting, and advising nine-figure brands, Josh and his team are experts in building powerhouse brands backed by patented technology. Josh is an old soul. His sought-after expertise lies in marketing strategy, influencer marketing at scale with A-list celebrities as business partners, and profitably scaling companies beyond nine figures without even raising outside capital. So, with no external investors, debt, or financing, Josh and his team run a holding company that reaches millions of consumers every month and has nearly 5 million social media followers. Is that about right, Josh?
Sounds good. Sounds great. Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Right, so without further ado, Josh, I'd love to hand over to you and just let you tell us quickly, what's your background? Who are you? Who the fuck are you, Josh? And where have you come from? We want to hear, man.
Well, I started off 12 years ago as just a poor teenager wanting to make some money to help my family out. And nobody wanted to give me a job because I was underage. And so, necessity is the mother of invention. So I had to figure a way out to learn skills that were valuable. And so for me, I was hanging out at the library at the time. My family didn't have a computer at home, so I used the computers there. And they only used to give you an hour a day to use the computer. And so what I did is I read every book I could on how to build a website, how to program, different programming languages. And I just read and read and read. I didn't really apply anything immediately because it was intimidating initially. And then eventually I gained the confidence to start to apply what I was reading. And I realized or I discovered that it was not as difficult as I had expected it to be in terms of I thought it was impossible. I thought you had to have a PhD to do these things. So I started off programming, moved into design, and I started taking on clients at 14, 15 years old, which are just teachers' friends, teachers, all of that. And so I started to make money. I started to be able to, help myself out, help my family out indirectly through helping myself out. And I remember the most proud moment for me initially was being able to just buy my own socks and buy my own underwear, like simple things where I was like, I'm buying this for myself. I feel financially independent. I'm able to buy my own food. My parents don't have to worry about me for that. And so I just continued to grow that. And one day a client was like, hey, if you learn how to advertise, if you learn how to market, I could pay you every month instead of paying you just one time. So I moved from programming to design to then sales and marketing. So I did the same thing. I read every single book that I could, watch every single video that I could find, every article, to learn copywriting, to learn marketing, advertising, Google AdWords, Google SEO. And by the time I was 18, I had started to dabble deeply into affiliate marketing. And I remember being the top affiliate on a couple of networks, and I got invited to the Playboy mansion or whatever, Playboy party. And I was under 18, and the invitation came in my dad's name because I had to use my dad's name to get paid because I wasn't 18. And I thought it was the most hilarious thing. My dad's like the most chill, like from Spain, like does not know much about computers. And here he is getting invited as the number one affiliate, super affiliate to the Playboy mansion. And I thought of ways to try to sneak in and stuff. I really wanted to go, but I had figured out SEO really well, and I started to build a team around that. And we turned that company into a platform that we ended up selling a few years after that. So I graduated university at 20 years old, and that company was sold by the time I was 22. And then I kind of I thought I made it. I had everything I want. I had a Lamborghini, Ferrari. I had, I was able to help my family out. And then I became a little bit burnt out and depressed because I didn't know what I want to do next, but I knew that I wasn't done. And so the last 3.5 years, I've been pouring all of my millions, all of my team into building lifelong brands that dominate their space, and that's where we're at now.
Now I saw that actually in one of your talks, and the key there is lifelong, and actually that was one of the things that I guess stood out amongst the other entrepreneurs that I've interviewed and spoken with and hung out with and stuff. I believe in your talk you said when you get into a brand, you're looking 30 years down the line. Is that correct?
Yeah, at least. I mean, this is the thing when once you have your dream car, your dream house, you've got what you think is the American dream. You realize that it wasn't the happiness of accomplishing the goal that you're after. It was really the pursuit. So I always say it's not the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit is happiness. And when you are marked as an entrepreneur, when you are marked as a leader, all you want to do is build better teams, bigger teams. You want to build bigger businesses. And the thing is, I went from once you have enough money that you never have to work again, you realize that you now can do things that you really want to do. And you're no longer chasing an income, you're chasing wealth. And the irony of capitalism is that you have to allow other people the opportunity to be, not necessarily millionaires, but you have to allow the opportunity for your team to have a purpose, to make good money. And when you build a good team, the last thing you want to do is lose them or give them away. And so for me, it became more about how can we do something for 50 years? And the market has to be massive. We have to take all of our competitive advantages have to be at play. It has to be something that I'm at least remotely interested in because business is very difficult and it's very hard to recruit A players if you're not passionate about what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about. And for me, it was more of a challenge of saying, look, I'm no longer doing this for money, for myself. I'm doing it to build the biggest company I can, the most successful brand that I can, with the best team that I can. And in order to do that, you have to think so much bigger because you're no longer income chasing and you're no longer, trend hopping. You're looking at what is something that's going to be around for 50 years. And there are thousands of things. And why not? What I learned is that Magic Johnson said this, it takes the same amount of time to do $1 million deal than it does to do $100 million deal. And time is the only thing you can't buy, no matter how rich you are. I've got money and I still have not figured out how to simply buy time. I can buy time by outsourcing stuff, but I can't get my time back. So for me, it's like, if I'm going to do something, I want to do something big. And I'm finally in a position that I can build something with staying power. And what happens is that attracts the best people in the world to want to work with you. People want to be led by fearless leaders that actually have a plan, proven success, and are making moves and are not afraid to get their hands dirty. And so for me, every day I wake up, I say, how can I be a better leader today? How can I push the boundaries further? How can I push people to think bigger? How can I unlock potential in this market and my team and my people and my partners? And how can I make my retailers rich? How can I make my team feel fulfilled and challenged, but also supported? So every day I wake up and I'm humbled by the opportunity I have to build a brand that's going to be around for 50 years. And when you start to think like that, all of a sudden you start to kind of remove some of the things that you would normally do, like, doing shady stuff or illegal stuff, or all that stuff starts to go by the wayside because you have so many eyes on you and you've spoken this large goal. And now your team is looking at you to help make it come true. So you've got this accountability that's really strong. So that's the rationale behind why I now will only do things if I can think about them 30 to 50 years from now. Otherwise, they're quick money grabs. And if it's an investment or I'm flipping something, okay, fine, I know what it is. But if I'm going to spend my heart, soul, and time into something, and I'm going to recruit people to spend their lives working on this, I want it to be something that is a legacy, something that is extraordinary, because people don't remember average.
Amazing, man. And so am I to assume that you wouldn't ever run multiple things at the same time. You're winning a gold medal in one thing. You're doubling down on that one thing for 50 years. That whatever that brand is.
Well, we're moving towards that direction. What happened is that I went out and created 7 or 8 different brands, and we've invested, acquired, and to figure out kind of when you have the money to do that, you have the mental capacity to do that. I work 16 hours a day. I have a really good team. I'm very productive. But even then, you put their horses in the race, you feed them really well, you give them all the same opportunity, and you see which one has the natural ability, the inherent ability, the genetics to actually be a winning horse, a championship horse, time and time and time again. So I'm looking for that. And so now that we found at least 2 or 3 out of that group, I'm now building world-class teams that help me manage the day-to-day there so that I can focus on the vision, our patents, the products, developments, the technology, but ultimately selling that vision and recruiting great team members who want to change the world with me. Retailers like Costco and QVC and Walmart and Target and Amazon, and flying out to them and getting those people excited about our brand because they're excited up front, but I really show them what we're building. And then they become stakeholders in the sense of they want to see this succeed. They're rooting for the underdog, and people want to see, they want to see young guys succeed. They want to see people succeed in general, and they're willing to lend the resources to do that. So for me, I'm very fortunate that I have incredible teams that I'm able to do 2 or 3 things at once, and they're all 8+ figure businesses, very profitable, great teams, and we're just scratching the surface in each one. And each one's a $1 trillion market, one's a $150 billion market, and there's a $100 billion market. So they all have the ability to scale for 30 to 50 years. So now I've got the 3 championship horses, and now you start to feed the one that is doing better, and they kind of compete with each other. So we'll see who comes out on top, and maybe 2 or 3 brands that end up really taking the cake for us.
So I've got to ask. You said there a number of times, world-class team. Can you go into a little bit of detail about how you attract and recruit those world-class team members? Because they're not out there looking for a job, right? They're already employed. You've got to somehow poach them away, entice them, give them the golden handcuffs, whatever it is. How do you do that?
Well, I do it a few different ways. So when I go to events or when I speak at events, I don't have anything to sell. I don't have any masterminds. I don't have any courses. I don't have anything like that. All I have to sell is the value that I bring to the stage, and hoping that other people take what I'm teaching and apply it, because I live through that. I really get a fix out of seeing other people succeed. It's something that I've always been, even in school, I've always been the leader of the group. I love to see other people succeed. I want to see us all win. So I get a real good fix out of that. But when people hear, Kobe Bryant had a change in his career with the LA Lakers, where he created the Mamba mentality, where he changed his mindset, he changed the way he spoke, and he changed the way he led, and his work ethic tripled, and his intelligent work ethics tripled. So for me, I'm in that phase of my life now where people can sense it. So the more that I'm out there with the right people, they sense it, and I get letters in the mail from people that want to, join the team, and they said, "Josh, I'm an entrepreneur. I never thought that I would ever work for anybody, but after seeing your presentation, or after seeing the brands you're building, or the way that you market." I had someone call me the other day because we sponsored a huge fight, UFC fight. We were all over the place, and I got calls left and right. And they're like, "You guys are fucking marketing geniuses. I don't know how you do it, but I want to be a part of that." And a lot of times they're entrepreneurs that say, I feel like I would never work for somebody, but if I was going to work with somebody, it'd be for you, because I can grow 100 times faster working with you than I can on my own. And so just putting that out there into the world, and also walking the walk. So I can't just be out there and saying, "We got a great brand." No, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to create the best products. You have to get the best celebrities. You have to get the best retailers. That starts to attract, because what happens is, just like you see a girl, just great looking, she's working out, she's smart, she's doing her thing. You're like, "Look, I don't know if I could date you or not, but I want to be around you. I want to hang out with you." And so you got to put that out there, and it starts to attract those A players, because A players want to work with A players, and they want to be led by someone who is going to take them to the top and who is fearless, is going to protect them, is going to give them the resources, empower them. When they get that feeling, when they're smart enough, they say, this motherfucker is going somewhere. He is relentless. He's been successful. He's doing it. They're killing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but I want to be a part of that somehow. And so when you're doing it, it attracts people. But tactically, I speak, I do podcasts, I'm networking. I always ask people, they say, Josh, how can I repay you? I said, look, if you've got, the only way you can repay me other than applying what I teach you is if you know someone who is just a rock star killer in their field, and they're looking to change the world, let me have a conversation with them. Or if you have a retailer or an affiliate or someone who is just crushing it, but is not feeling that fulfillment, or they're feeling a ceiling, I'm here to break that ceiling and push people to new heights. And that's what the best leaders do. They unlock the potential that sometimes people didn't even know they had inside of them. And that's what I'm focused on doing for the rest of my life.
Amazing. So, so your main incentive there is actually you yourself, right? So you're going to help them realize that growth. That you're going to help them realize that potential personally.
Yeah, it's for example, when you start to recruit really good football players, other football players want to join the team because they're like, okay, this guy I look up to is working with Josh. Something's going on there, and I want to be a part of that. And so they get to work closely with me. 1 second, I'm getting in my car. It's kind of hot out here, actually, the sun.
Okay. So
I live in Arizona, but the sun is crazy.
Nice. So okay, cool, man.
Okay.
So right, so changing pace for a second, because I know we've got a lot of questions, and I know a lot of the audience watching this are going to be in e-com. So just changing pace for a second and switching to some tactical tactical things that people can use right now. Source.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can see you. Great.
So we have an omni-channel approach now across all the brands. We're still Facebook and Instagram dominant. You can't be a consumer focused business and not be on Facebook and Instagram right now. But Facebook and Instagram are becoming more and more expensive. I saw this happen firsthand on Google. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's 100% going to happen. They're a public company. It's always the same thing. So for me, it's aggressively expanding into, we work with over 100 celebrities. So celebrities drive a lot of traffic because of just who they are. We do a lot of Facebook and Instagram, millions of dollars. We do a lot of Google. I love Google. That was my first love. AdWords, YouTube, SEO. We do a lot of Pinterest ads, Snapchat ads, which is new. We're putting a lot of effort there. We do a lot of native advertising. We do some select affiliate deals, email drops. Trying to think of what else we do. We're now going hardcore into podcast ads, radio ads. Next will be infomercials. I'm going to be on QVC and the Home Shopping Network in February. So we're going to take that, turn that into an infomercial to run nationwide. And then internationally, I'm locking down distributors to put us in retail outlets internationally. And we're picking up the best celebrities in each country and getting them excited about Snow so that they can rep it in Chinese, Japanese, South Korean, Spanish. But we started with, I saw a question come through from Brandon. We started off by giving free product. But here's the thing. If your product is sexy and it's truly better than everything else, it has a positioning of being a great product. And when people receive it, when people receive the product, they feel that they have to reciprocate the value because they feel like they got something with a lot of value. So we started off by just literally searching hashtags, put a couple interns on it, and literally did everything manually, just saying, hey, would you post if we say free product, if you like it? And we started doing 100 of those a week. And then after a while, you start to make money, Facebook ads starts to pay the bills. Then you're able to start to afford bigger and bigger influencers.
but you start off with the free stuff, bloggers, Instagram accounts with 1 to 10,000 followers. You ask them if they know any friends that want to do it. And that started to snowball. And as the money started to come in, I decided to double down. We spent, close to $2 or $3 million in R&D alone this year in Snow. That's our first full year in business, to create, 6 patents, truly revolutionary stuff. Now, when people receive our product for free, they feel like they owe us a lot. And so that's important when you're building a brand. And then when they see celebrities use it, they're like, oh my God, Kim Kardashian uses this and I'm getting it for free. I'm going to post all over my social media about it because it's cool to do so. So creating products that are Instagrammable are also very important. So that's on the influencer side of things.
And your influencer strategy is clearly working very, very well. I'm jumping down a couple of questions here, but absolutely, when we're seeing your brand, I mean, the MMA fight that you were talking about, your brand was on one of the biggest badasses in the world's t-shirt before and after during his big fight, right?
Yeah, it was also on his shorts on the back. We had him on both sides. What I did is I said, I don't want anybody else on there. I just want Snow on there. I want no one else on your shorts. And so, in this world, you're always fighting for attention. And I don't like to share attention with competing brands or anyone else. So I said, I don't care what it cost. And luckily, Chuck Liddell is actually a partner of mine. So his wife, who's the best person to work with in the world, we figured out a way to be able to sponsor the shirts, the jackets, and then actually Chuck Liddell fighting with Snow on both sides of his shorts on the back. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but we got millions of people to see that, and my phone's still blowing up because people are like, "How the hell did you do that?" You guys are barely a year and a half old of selling, but it's because I'm not afraid to put my money where my mouth is. I'm not afraid to lose money. I'm a big high stakes gambler, and I finally have the money to do that. And we have a brand that we're going to protect and we're going to pursue it. Come January 1st, we're going to start to enforce our patents. I've got some of the best lawyers who are joining our board, and their only job is to take down anyone that looks like us, acts like us, and doesn't pay us a licensing fee. And little do a lot of people know, a lot of companies out there are actually paying us licensing fees for using our formula, for using our technology. Nobody has it all in one like we do. We'll never license that out completely. But I'm not opposed to getting paid, for our intellectual property if other people want to grow that out. So we're doing a lot of that work as well right now. We're talking to, Invisalign, a bunch of, I won't name the rest of the companies, but some of the biggest companies you would know, they're either already selling Snow's products under the table and paying us licensing, or they're going to. And if they don't, we can shut them down because we're globalizing our patents.
Wow. So going back to the influencers for a second. So we've got guys on this call that are doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 figures. In terms of a sort of general approach to getting as high up the ladder in terms of A-list celebrity influencers as possible, what would you say your top 3 tips for winning the best influencers are at this moment?
Well,
if you don't mind answering that.
Yeah, no worries. So I would say you have to make it a win-win-win. And win for the brand means that it's a good brand match. It matches your target audience, that people like the person that they're following. There's got to be affinity. There's got to be genuine authenticity around it. And then it's got to be a win for the celebrity themselves. They should ideally be a customer. They should ideally make them a customer if they're not. They should ideally generally like the product. And I have the celebrities tell me, what do you like about the product? Show me your before and afters. And we're collecting before and afters from A-list celebrities. No brand has this. And it's literally like an A-list celeb before after. And we're putting them on our ads, we're putting them on our packaging and everything. Then it has to be a win. And by the way, it has to be a win for the celebrity in the sense that it matches their brand. They don't want to cheapen their brand. If they care about their personal brand, they want to know that it's a real company, it's a real product. You guys aren't going anywhere, and you guys are doing big things. So I try to get them on the phone, and I try to explain to them the vision of the company, where we're going, and why I think they're a good fit. So that could take hours sometimes. I'll fly out and meet with them. I was just with Rob Gronkowski, in Boston, for the New England Patriots, in LA with Chuck Liddell. I mean, getting in front of them and getting to show them what you're creating gets them excited. And they're willing to do deals for a fraction of the cost if they know that you're going to be around a long time. It's not going to hurt their brand. Then the third win is on the manager side of things. The manager has to make money. The manager has to get paid. So I always try to cut special deals with the manager, special deal with the celebrity, and then sell my team on why we're doing this deal and why it makes sense. And I never look to make money from working with a big influencer, ever. And if you do, you'll never work with big celebrities. Because if you look at it that directly, this is not Facebook ads. You can't see an ROI directly. It just doesn't work that way. I see the ROI in having the biggest retailers in the world now wanting to carry our product exclusively, the team members I'm able to recruit, and the more celebrities that want to work with us because it's a snowball effect. That's where I make my money. And I make my money on Facebook ads and Instagram ads and SEO and retailers and wholesale deals, selling to dentists. That's where I make the money. And I pour it all back into creating better products, more patents, more big marketing deals, and recruiting bigger and better celebrities. Next year, we have some of the world's top celebrities lined up, including some dead ones, which are massive. Some of the biggest celebrities ever to walk the earth are going to be representing Snow, and we have customized products specifically for them. So it's not just them holding a Coca-Cola can, it's them holding a special flavor of Coca-Cola that they helped create so that they can share that passion with their audience. And that includes generally licensing fee, licensing revenue, so royalty, cash up front, cash over time, sometimes vested equity if they stay around for 4 years. So celebrities want to learn the world of business. They want to learn how to monetize their celebrity. And I figured out how to do that while making the manager rich, the celebrity rich. Years if we're listed, cool. Otherwise, I don't take a salary. My companies. I'm doing this because I want to build something huge. So that's how I go about going those big influencers is, are they a good match? Can I get them on the phone? How can I make the manager happy? And once I take care of everybody, I'm back. And they're like, oh, my friend Jennifer Lopez was just at my house. I showed the Snow system. She'd be interested. And now they're selling to me, Jennifer Lopez, right? It's like they're selling to me versus me having to sell to them. And that happens much more quickly than you think if you got the balls to do it.
That's phenomenal. And just that tip alone where you said making the manager rich as well. That's the gatekeeper, right? And probably there's people on the call that know that, like, if you're trying to get into the get the attention of someone, you need to get past their secretary. Am I assuming that the manager is serving almost that secretary role when it comes to actually booking that A-list celebrity?
Well, they're the gatekeeper, and so they want to do a couple of things. They want to make money. Obviously, they want to bring good deals. The management connection. They want to protect the brand because that means future profits for them. If they ruin someone's brand, they're going to get fired, and they're not going to be able to make money anymore. So if we can hit those in one conversation, and a lot of times that means doing a separate deal with the manager and saying, hey, I'm gonna pay you a little bit of money under the table if this goes well. Or, hey, you got a couple other people you're managing, let's do a group deal. Let's make sure you get paid. Let's take your management fee outside of the talent fee, and let me pay you like you would on $1 million deal, but get it for me for $100,000. Like being able to do that, or figuring out what do they like, what do they want. If they like Rolexes, can I show up to their office with the Rolex that they wanted and say, this is just me showing you that I'm going to take care of you if you take care of me. And that world, it's very, it's who you know, but it also is money. Money talks. It's like Wall Street and Hollywood. Money talks. And so I love that because it makes everything much more simple. And I can say, look, here's how I'm going to make you money. And if you show people that you're going to make them money and you're thinking of them. So whenever I work with an entrepreneur, I figure out how can I make them rich. When I work with an employee, I figure out how can I make them look really, really good. When I work with a manager, I think of how can I make them a lot of money over time and for them to feel good about bringing me their best talent and their best deals. That's what I'm thinking of versus how much is it? I want you to rep this product, and then if I'm negotiating with them just on price, I've never been on the phone with them, I come off as just another random person, and they're not going to treat me with that respect. So I get in front of them, I hop on a plane. I don't care if it's the middle of the night. I'll hop on FaceTime with them. I don't care if I'm sleepy and I have to wake up from my sleep and get on a plane. I will do it, and I will get in front of them, and I will show them how I'm going to make them rich. I will prove it to them. And a lot of times I'll bring, my backpack will have, stacks of hundreds in them, and I'll bring cash and give it to them right there with no expectation. And I said, look, here's just for me. Here's $5,000 for taking an hour of your time. I know it's very valuable. Whether we work together or not, I want you to know that I value you, and I hope we can figure a way out, to work together. And that type of just rawness, that transparency, has been huge. And sometimes they take the money and we don't work together directly, but then they'll go and get me Madonna's agent, or they'll go and get me Sephora retailer, or they're thinking about me in that aspect. And sometimes they never do anything, but at least I know that I'm compensating them for their value as opposed to just draining their time, because they get pitch deals all day long. So it's like, how are you going to stand out? It's all about marketing and sales. How are you going to stand out? And I said, look, no one pushes more units than I do. Nobody has a bigger vision in this space than I do. Nobody is already rich like I am and 25 years old, where I have no pressure other than to build something massive. I'm not doing this to buy a Lambo. I've had it. I'm not doing this to make money. I have it. I'm doing this to build something massive and to make a lot of people rich. And if you like money and you like building a long-term brand, let's work together. That's why I told the managers. I said, look, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make you rich. I'm going to take care of your talent. I'm going to bring you deals. You're going to bring me deals. If you want to rock and roll, let's do it. Otherwise, if you're going to treat me like another client, I don't want to do this. And there's 100 other celebrities I'll go after. So if you're that open and that direct, you break the ice. All of a sudden, they're like, damn, this dude's real as fuck. He's putting his money where his mouth is. He flew out to see me. He's thought everything through. I love his brand. He brought product with him so I could try it because he wants me to be a believer before I push it. This dude really believes in his product. He's really going to fucking do it. And a lot of times I end up becoming their mentors in, how to deal with their clients, because I come from a world of dealing with hundreds of Fortune 500 or hundreds, maybe a dozen Fortune 500, but hundreds and hundreds of clients. So I know how to communicate that value to high net worth CEOs and companies. So a lot of times we'll share tips on their own stuff, or they're going through a relationship stumble. We become friends, and we're talking about their relationship with their girlfriend, their wife, their kids. We become friends, and if you do that out of a genuine nature, and you actually are interested in people, there's always that underlying tone that we're going to make money together. But you don't put a pressure there. You don't put that expectation of like, I've helped you, you got to help me now. If you do that over and over and over and over again, a million times, and you never ask for anything, people will try to figure out how to give you value. If they're good people, they'll figure it out. And that's what I like. I don't want anyone to ever feel pressured they have to do something for me. I want them to want to do it, and I want them to be compensated. I want them to be taken care of. And I want people to know that it was them who helped me create that, or them who helped me make that connection. Ego is the killer. If you're a leader and if you use I, me, you're going to kill your team. Nobody's going to want to work with you. If you're cheap, right? I'm not saying, not be frugal, but if you're cheap, people don't want to work with cheap people. I always pay my invoices the moment they hit my phone. I could be driving 80 miles per hour, and I will forward it to our accounting team, or I'll pay it right then and there myself. It's in the middle of the night. I pay my invoices in minutes sometimes, because I want people to know that I respect them and I appreciate the work they're doing. But you gotta walk the walk. You can't just talk it. And I try to do as much of that as possible, and it creates a ripple effect over time.
Wow. So in terms of someone who's getting started, or someone who's got a brilliant product, it's a fantastic product, but they don't yet have the stack of $5,000 to just give to the manager, just as a like a future investment. Like, I hope we can work together. I'm serious. Boom. Like, in terms of that kind of person, what kind of advice would you give to really maximize what they can do within the realms of what they're capable of doing at that early stage?
Well, look, this is what we did. Very early on, I knew that we were onto something. I didn't know that we were going to, I honestly, I knew we moved so fast. I didn't know we were going to move this fast, but, and I didn't know retailers were going to want to carry our products. I didn't know a lot of these things, but I knew that if I could give something of value, and in the very beginning, the thing you have of value is royalties. If you could push product, royalties, commissions, and if you're not cheap, equity, right? And so I gave away equity to 2 superstar celebrities so that I could say that we're truly a celebrity-owned company. And I wasn't cheap, I wasn't selfish, and I used that to my ability to, and now they're getting checks, now they're getting cash, they're getting money. But I use that to my favor. So if the last thing you have is equity, but you got to have a good product or a good service, you've got to have a good brand, you've got to be building something that's at least 10 years out so you can sell that vision well. But if you got to give up equity, you say, look, I'm going to sell this thing for billions of dollars, or maybe I'll never sell it. Either way, you're going to make a lot of money with me. I'm going to take care of you. I'm not going to ask for much. I'll bring my video team out to you. Even if it's me with my iPhone, I'll fly out to you myself. I will video it. I will write the script. You just got to give me 5 minutes of your time. And that's it. And I will give you 2% of this company. Or I'll give you, if you hit these milestones, I'll give you this. You'll believe it or not, you will find that not every celebrity just wants to make cash. Some of them want to be they want to be successful in business. They want to have something that they can tell their friends, like, oh, what are you going to do after you play football? Oh, well, actually, I've got a couple companies that I'm partnering. I don't know if you heard of Snow, but we're killing it. We're going to be in Costco. They want those things to talk about. So every day I spend about an hour updating all of my stakeholders, whether they own equity or not.
Yeah.
My team, my friends, our retailers, the buyers at those retailers, the celebrities, the managers, and I say, look at this new product, look at our new packaging. We just closed this deal. We're going to hit $3 million this weekend. We're going to do this. I'm constantly updating them so that they know that I'm thinking of them, I respect them, and they get excited. They get a jolt of energy that we're doing something, and it keeps me. Things that are free to do, and be at our first $1,000 day, right? That's exciting. We had our first $10,000 day. That's exciting. Here's how we're going to get to $100,000 day. The managers will help you. And one thing that the managers are good at is they are open to taking equity as well. So a manager will be like, look, I'll take equity in this because I never get a piece of any deal I bring to the table. And I'll bring you some really good celebrities and I'll give you really good deals on them. And I don't care if you have to go, if it's a good celebrity, you got to go out and get a credit card. I'm really against debt and that nature. But if you're building something legit and you got to go out and get a bank loan, you got to go out and ask friends and family for money. Whatever you got to do. If you're building something legit and you're not going to give up, then don't be afraid to go do that, because not just celebrities, but like down to our packaging, we spend more packaging than anyone else in our industry, down to the product. Even if it means hiring someone, if I have to live on the street so that I can pay, a good salary to someone I really want on my team, I will live on the street. I do not care, because I know that one team member could be a multiplier and it could bring 10 times the value to the team. And that's what I've done time and time again. So you just can't be cheap. You got to bring your balls to the table. You got to be willing to be a high risk gambler. But the nice thing about building a business versus gambling is you actually have control. Skill is in play. You're not playing against the house. You're playing against yourself and your team and the market. But if you feel confident, it's the best gamble you can make is gambling on yourself and building brand value. Companies, when they acquire other companies, they don't just acquire them for revenue. That's small-minded. If you want to sell a company for 100 million, build a company up to 25 million, whatever, and you're in a good space, you can sell it for 100 million. You want to sell a brand for $1 billion, you could have 100 million in revenue and sell it for $1 billion. That's what Dollar Shave Club did. You've got to disrupt the model, disrupt the industry, build a brand, build a cult following, have celebrities, or have that recognition. That's what companies pay for. They pay for goodwill and brands. They don't just pay for balance sheets, especially in the $1 billion range. So that's how you have to think now. And you start by giving product away for free. You start getting that snowball rolling as fast as you can. Get an intern to oversee it. Get a freaking Filipino virtual assistant. Doesn't matter. Brand value. If you want to build something, entrepreneurs become wealthy really one of two ways. Through the business. So if you cash flow the business, you have a lifestyle business, that's great. You can cash flow, great. Or when you sell the business. But every person I know who is uberly successful, my mentors, they've all gained money by selling it through IPO, acquisition, merger, something like that has created tremendous wealth for them. And so for me, it's like, I want to build a business that's sellable, but I never want to have the pressure to sell it because I'm young. And I don't know what I would do if I sold it other than become an investor. Maybe that's good enough. But for me, it's like, I'm not in a hurry to sell it, but I'm always thinking, how can I build something that's sellable? And in order to do that, you got to be willing to give up some equity. You got to be willing to give up equity to celebrities, managers. You've got to be willing to take out a loan and drop 50 G's on a celebrity that matches your brand perfectly, that is going to take you to that next level. And hopefully you're able to run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, other stuff to make the money there to pay the bills. But you should never have money in your bank account if you're building something of true value as an entrepreneur. You should never, ever have money in your bank account. If you do, one, you're paying taxes, sucks. Two, you're not believing in yourself enough. You're holding back. Why are you holding back? I can show you how to spend the money, but you got to invest it right. And investing in your brand is never a bad move.
I couldn't agree more, and also I'd add to that as well. If you've got money in your bank account and you're making like 2% interest, I mean, even there, right? Like I get what you're saying. Like you should be reinvesting it into your business all the time. But like as a side note as well, like even if you're not running a business and you've got a ton of money in your bank account, that's a bad move anyway, because you can get a lot more than 2%. By investing somewhere. And I think personally I echo what you're saying, that actually the best investment is in your thing, right? You're going to see the biggest return from investing in your thing that you believe in and practicing what you are preaching here. We've got loads of questions coming in, Josh. Can I just at this point get a feel for how much longer you're able to stay and help us?
Yeah, I've got maybe 10 minutes left, so we can go through some questions. The last thing I want to mention, because you brought up a good point, when I buy a Lamborghini or I buy a nice car, whatever it is, I'll tell you my trick. I buy it cash, right? I buy it with 1,000 miles on it, so I don't pay the depreciation. And I go back to the bank and I say, give me my money back at 3%, which is the cost of inflation. And I get that money right back and I put it right back into the business. So anytime I'm making a move, I'm always thinking, how can I put more money back into my brand, back into packaging? So if you develop that mindset, again, don't be cheap, right? Don't reuse toilet paper. But I'm saying that type of mindset is what is going to make you successful, because then you're not worrying about, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm making money now, I've got to have a nice car, I've got to have a nice place, I've got to spend all my, now you've got this lifestyle, then you start getting greedy. You don't want to hire people that cost a lot of money, because you're like, oh my God, I could do it. Or, that means that I'm going to have to sell my Lambo because I'm going to hire this great employee. Hell no, I want to keep my Lambo. I'd rather do the job. You start to think small. And so the sooner you start to think big is when your life starts to change, the way you act changes. And people feel that. A players feel that. They're like, this guy's built, they're looking to have a purpose, and they want to have something to talk about at the table, and they want to be proud of something in their life. And if you give them the opportunity as an entrepreneur, they will pour their heart out for everything that you do, and they will be loyal. And that's the type of leader that I've become, because I've changed my mindset. And I'm not into this woo-woo magic shit. I'm just saying it straight up. You want to make big money. It takes the same amount of time to build $1 billion business than it does to build $100 million business than it does to build $1 million business. You got to choose when in your life, what type of life do you want? You want to have a lifestyle business? Great. And you want to make good money? Great. I'm not opposed to that at all. If you want to build a brand and you want to build something big, you've got to actually follow through with that. And that means risking everything. That means going to bat for your team, for your brand. And, if you do that, people will respect that and they'll want to be a part of it.
100%. So let's change pace for a second, change gear. We're going to go into a quick fire question round, if that's cool, just to bang out as much as we possibly can. Starting with, how do you get yourself into a state of flow?
Lots of LSD and shrooms. No, I'm just kidding. Lots of pot. No, I'm just kidding. For me, it's I try to prime myself and think about a couple of things. Gratitude. So I think about how far I've come, but then I'm humbled by how far I want to go. That excites me. That lights that fire inside of me of like, okay, because it's easy to be complacent when you're living in a mansion, you're driving nice cars, you're doing well. It's so easy to become complacent. I come from almost nothing financially. So for me, I think about where I come from. And even if you come from a wealthy family, it doesn't matter. Look at what you built. Look at what you want to build. That primes my mind. And then it takes me about an hour or two to really get into that workflow state of mind. I've gotten a lot better at it. I could do it within an hour now. And what I do is I write down, what do I want to tackle? And I prioritize it by importance. Anything I can delegate is an opportunity to train someone, to make someone stronger. And so I put that to the delegation side. Something I've got to do. So if I've got to rewrite copy for something, if I've got to talk to a retailer, I prime my mind and say, it's go time. And I do some self-talk a little bit in my own head. And that kind of primes me. And then just doing it. So no distractions, putting my phone on airplane mode, minimizing Facebook, download a porn blocker if you have to, if you're wanking your cock all day instead of building a business, whatever you got to do to focus and realize that unless you focus, I always say this with the team, if we don't focus, we'll fuck us, right? So it's like, it's going to fuck us over if we don't focus. So focus, prime your mind, no distractions, write down exactly what you want to tackle. And don't write down something like, I want to make $1 million today. Like, don't write down a huge goal. Write down, I want to contact 5 celebrities and I want to get one of them on the phone, even if it's their manager, and I will find it. That's what I want to do. And then another thing I do is I put timers. I try to time it. I say, take me 30 minutes to do this. I set the timer up, 30 minutes. And every time I start to get distracted, I look at 30 minutes. I have my water bottles next to me. I have whatever I need next to me. I have it right in front of me, so I don't have to make an excuse. Oh, I got to go stretch, or oh, I got to go get water. You can stretch out in your coffin when you're dead. But for me, I also enjoy myself. I'm not Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm not saying don't sleep and look like your eyes are about to fall out of your head. Like, don't do that. I'm also not Tim Ferriss, where it's like move on an island and work for 4 hours. There's a balance between that. Some weeks I'm working 80 hours a week. Some weeks I'm working 40. But my mind is always going. So flow is focus, no distractions, write down what you want to do.
Perfect. Now, I know you're an avid reader. I know that you read loads. You've got a library in your house. But if we could narrow it down to just like 2 or 3 books that for you were just life-changing, game-changing, what would those books be?
So if you're still doing a lot of the work yourself, E-Myth is what everyone recommends. It. E-Myth is great. The E-Myth Revisited, I've read it a couple times. Shows you how to delegate. Shows you how to move to business owner. Very important. I like The Science of Success. It's by Charles Koch. It's a $100 billion company, private. They own it all. They're not public. And they built it from less than $1 billion to $100 billion a year in turnover themselves. And they are very powerful politically in every way. And it's really run by one guy, Charles Koch. And he wrote a book called Science of Success. He has a couple other books. He teaches market-based management, which I really like. I take different elements from that. Principles by Ray Dalio. That's a hot book right now. A really strong book on understanding the principles of growing a business, growing a team, about transparency with your team. There's a couple more just slipped my mind. Oh, Multipliers is one that I recently have finished that I really enjoyed. How to hire multipliers, how to be a multiplier of your people, how to be a multiplier of your efforts, and how to lead people who are multipliers and protect them. Very, very important, because you realize if you want to build $1 billion company, you can't do it alone. No matter how great you are, you have to have really good people around you, really good agencies, really good employees. I also like How to Win Friends and Influence People. An old book. I have one of the first editions in my library about how to deal with people, how to show respect to people, how to be liked genuinely. So none of that NLP bullshit where you're like saying certain words to trick people on this hypnotic bullshit. I don't follow that. I don't. You got to talk to people real straight up. Tell them what you want. Say, look, I'm meeting you because I think there's a way that I can make money off you. And I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I want to make sure that you're also able to make money. Can we talk about that? Is that okay if we talk about money? And they're like, yeah, fuck. Breath of fresh air instead of small talk bullshit and never following up. It's like, look, I'm not going to follow up with you because I don't sense a way to make money here. But if something changes, call me immediately. They're like, wow. Like, no one's ever told me that. Instead of like, let's grab coffee again. Like, let's follow up. Yeah. What's your business card? It's like, no, that's one reason I don't have business cards. Because if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. And people can find me. I can find them. And we will make it happen. And generally, I like to do the deal right on the spot. If I got my laptop, I say, what's your PayPal? I'll send you the money right here. Let's get it done right now. You've got 30 minutes. Let's do it right now. I've done that with celebrities. I pull out my phone and say, let's do the post right now. Why are we waiting? Why are we going to schedule it later? I might be dead tomorrow. Let's do it right now. I've got the money. Let's go. So that type of mindset has been important for us. And I learned that from books, right? I learned that from reading thousands and thousands of books. I listen to Audible. I read the book. I listen to podcasts. I'm always on YouTube. And the last thing I'll say on that is it has to be timely. So if you're reading random shit, good for you. I like to read random shit too. But we don't have time for that. If I'm struggling with something of hiring people, I'm going to immediately go to Amazon. I'm going to find the 5 books that are best on hiring people, like Good to Great. It's a phenomenal book. And I'm going to grab the book, grab the Audible, read it. I'm going to next day deliver it to me. I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going to block out my calendar, and I'm going to tear through that book in 2 times speed in 3 hours, taking notes along the way. And I'm going to figure out a plan when I go and take a shower after I read a book usually, and I'm sitting in my steam shower, and I'm thinking through how am I going to activate what I just learned. Otherwise, I'll store it for later and put it in my hard drive. But I like timely stuff. I like to implement it right now. Otherwise, reading like, blah, 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 all this random shit, it's great, but you're never going to use it. Unless you use it, you lose it. So I'm always trying to figure out how can I use things instead of just sitting there and listening to NPR for the fuck of it. For me, I that's not exciting. I get my joy out of implementation. So that's the way I think about when I'm looking at books. So if I could recommend 1,000 books to you, probably 50 of them that are life-changing for me. But you don't have to read all 50 now. What problem are you having right now? What insecurity are you having right now? And find the 3 books that are the highest rated on Amazon. Order them. Lock yourself in a room on a Saturday. And don't leave until you've got a notebook full of notes, an action plan, and those books torn through.
Amazing. Well, that and I totally echo that you know, focus on the books that are appropriate to the point that you are at in your journey right now. But the books you've mentioned as well are epic. I've read all of those. They are spot on. So in terms of advice, right, external to books, like from actual people, from your mentors or from other people in walks of life, what's the best advice ever given to you?
So I like to push myself a lot. I graduated university in 2 years with straight A's, running my $1 million business. I'm always pushing, but I hang out with my mentors are, in their 80s, some in their 70s, and they're very successful. One of them is partners with Warren Buffett, and I see him on a weekly basis. Anyway, he looked at me and said, if I had the internet, if I had the opportunity that you did, and I was as young as you were and had the traction behind me that you did, I would not be sitting here even fucking eating. Like I would be going. And when I see these 82-year-olds, they're still working. They're filthy rich, but they're working because they love what they do. They're reading more than me. I mean, I read a lot, and they're reading more than me. They're implementing more than me. They're traveling. And I see that 82 years old, that makes me feel that I've got to think bigger. I've got to act bigger. I've got to step up my team, step up myself as a leader, and I've got to be willing to put my money where my mouth is and think longer term. So for me, the biggest advice has been think bigger, think longer term, put your money where your mouth is, and build something that truly has value. And that's what my older mentors taught me. And sometimes it took them 40 years to figure that out. And now they're incredibly successful. But if I could harness that at 25 years old, for them is exciting because they get to live through me. And so for me, I never want to let my mentors down by not implementing something that they teach me, because I'm not paying them. They don't have to spend time with me. They're telling me shit because they care about me, and I am transparent with them. So being transparent is another thing I learned. The more transparent and open you can be, people can't help you unless you're open and real with them. They just can't. So I'm real as I can be and say, I'm having trouble firing this person. How would you do it? And so a lot of times I go on YouTube though. My mentors are on YouTube. I don't know them. And I go on there and I search, how to fire a manager or how to hire a better accountant, or, I'm finding entrepreneurs like Jean-Paul DeJoria, who I love, Patron Tequila, Paul Mitchell Cosmetics, Richard Branson, you name it. I'm looking them up and I watch every single interview, every single podcast, every single seminar, everything I can find on them. I swallow it all up. And then I now have a piece of them inside of me. And so I can think, what would Richard Branson do in this scenario because he's gone through this? Or what would Steve Jobs do here? And I remember his speech What would Alibaba, when Jack Ma had his speech, when they made $0, nobody thought they were going to be successful. And he sat there with his team and gave them the vision. That's what I channel, and that's from YouTube. I don't know Jack Ma, but that's what I've learned from mentors is thinking bigger, think longer term, put your money where your mouth is, build a great team, don't be egoistic, share the success with your team, share the success with your stakeholders, with the public, with your customers, and be relentless and work hard. That's what I've learned from my mentors. And they drill it into me every time I see them. They're always telling me, you're still thinking too small. You got to push harder. You got to hire better people. You're being cheap with who you're hiring. Hire better people. They're constantly pushing me out of my comfort zone because they know who I am. They know what I want, and they know what I could achieve. And those are the people that you want to surround yourself, whether they're mentors or not. People that know who you really are willing to go against you and push you. They're not yes men. And they're saying, no, you're doing that wrong. And you're like, really? I'm doing it wrong? Yes, you are. And like that fearlessness to say that, because you don't have that much in your life. If you got employees who are afraid to push back against you, I love to hire people who think differently than I do, because they're not afraid to raise their voice and say, you know what? That's a great thought, Josh, but what if we did it this way? Or no, the regulation's coming out. We can't really do that. I love when people push back against me because I get to learn from that. I get to listen to that. It's huge for me. And it's maybe a 10 times better leader to not be afraid of being told that I'm wrong or that my thinking is off.
Oh, amazing. I'm just letting that settle. I was making a mental note that as an interviewer in these kind of situations, sometimes you don't get to absorb quite as much as you actually really want to, and you've got questions coming in on different screens and so on. And there's a few tidbits there which I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna listen to it again. I'm actually gonna write those down, and I'm gonna put those in the notes for this, because some of those tidbits there I just think are absolute gems, Josh, and I'm so grateful that you're taking the time to share these with us. So I've got one final question just before we go into the wrap up. I've actually got about 100 more questions, but I'm being respectful of your time. I know hopefully we'll have another opportunity to do this in the future. So I'm going to ask you, it's a bit of a silly one, but it's weird how this question does eke out the sort of mindset of certain people. So I'm going to say, in this situation, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? And it's the why that I want to know.
So this is the big one.
The biggest question, this one.
No, I'm saying the big one. Give me the woolly mammoth. That's who I'll fight. The saber-toothed tiger. That's who I'll fight. Because here's the deal: if you are a true competitor, you don't want an easy fight. And I spent most of my life hunting chickens. And you hunt a chicken, you have a meal for a day, and you've got to hunt a chicken the next. That's trend hopping, drop shipping, all that stuff. You trend hop, you try this and that. It's easy. After a while, you get really good at hunting chickens and you get comfortable. But in order to hunt an elephant, you can't do it alone. And you can't do it with spears. You have to have better equipment, and you have to have a team that you trust and they trust you. So you got to go all out as a team with the best equipment you can, and you've got to trust each other to hunt that elephant. And if you fuck up, you're going to die. And I love that high stakes. But here's the deal. You can't hunt it alone. Very few people can hunt elephants because you have to have a great team. And you come back and guess what? You sit by the fire and you enjoy that elephant as a team. And you say, we've done it. They thought it was impossible. We did it. Chickens will always be around. You can always grab one and eat one if you want. But that elephant took a group effort, and that's something that people will always remember for their life. So I'm always chasing the bigger hunt, because it means that I always say, don't wish the game was easier. Don't wish the hunt was easier. Wish you were a better hunter. And so if you look internally, chasing that big duck or whatever you said, 100-pound duck, for me, it's going to have to challenge me to say, how can I be good enough to earn the right to be able to tackle this challenge? And so I'll choose that every day. I've done the small stuff. It's exciting. It's comfortable. But now I want to hunt the elephants.
Hands down, that might be the best answer to that particular question we've absolutely received today. So Josh, part of the reason that you agreed so humbly to do this, Amar, is because in January, our mastermind, Cartel's Mastermind, is hosting an event in the Dominican Republic. And I believe in your own words, it was something along the lines of Latino, check, party, check, hang out with cool people, check. and you kindly agreed to come on down to hang out with us for the majority of the week, to share your wisdom, to share some tequilas or whatever your beverage is.
Lots of tequila.
Are you excited about January?
I'm very excited. I'm excited to be around great people. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to share whatever I can. I'm an open book. And if I can leave everybody with just one nugget that I've learned, and if I can leave with a nugget myself and laughter and fun and good people, I mean, shit, that's what life's about, right?
Absolutely. So, guys and girls on the call, if you are interested in hanging out with us at this particular mastermind, there is a vetting process. We only let in genuinely cool people, but if you're interested, shoot me an email, martyn@smarterdestiny.com, and we'll definitely keep you in the mix for that. Going back to this call, Josh, I am so eternally grateful for you taking your time to enlighten and enrich the audience that is on this call. The final thing I would say, have you got, and I kind of feel like I know what your answer is going to be, but have you got any ask or request of the audience here? Is there any one thing you want to ask of the audience?
Just, I do this. I share what I can because I love to see other people grow. I'm a very abundant thinker, so I want you to just take one thing from this. I don't care if it's a book. I don't care if it's whatever it is, and apply it. And even if it's just mentally, like sit in the bathtub or sit in the shower for an hour. I don't care. And just think about how can you 100x what you're doing? How can you think bigger? And if that means closing down a business, if that means selling a business that you're in that you can't be in for 30 years, sell the business. I never regret selling any one of my businesses because it allowed me. Opportunity cost is the most expensive thing in the world because it involves time. And if you're spending time building something that is not, that doesn't have longevity, that doesn't have a big vision, that can be around 30 years from now, you have to be willing to let it go. And that's the most humbling experience, the most mature experience as a business owner, is to let something go. And the best time to sell something or let something go is when it's doing really well. And that's the hardest thing for people to do. But if you feel after this conversation that you're in a business that just maybe doesn't match that, and if that's what you want, I mean, if you want to run a lifestyle business, whatever, I'm not going to judge anyone. I just want people to succeed. I want people to grow. But if this is something that connects with you, think about what you're doing right now. Think about the people you spend time with. Think about who you listen to, because if who you listen to and follow is who you'll become. So change who you listen to, change who you follow, change how you think, and most important, change how you talk and act. And whatever that means, I don't know what that means for you, but do something about it. Because like I always say, you could be dead tomorrow, but I always want to go out knowing that I was swinging and I was giving it my all. And if you're not giving it your all and you're lying to yourself, or maybe you're working a lot, but you're not really giving it your all in the business sense of building something that has huge legs, man up, woman up, and put your money where your mouth is and figure out a plan of how you're going to 100x what you're doing in your life. Because I promise you, no one ever sat back and said, oh man, I feel like I did too much in my life, or I feel like I feel like the business was too successful. I feel like I created too much opportunity for people. No one has ever said that in their deathbed, not that I know of. So unless that you're going to be the first, think about what you're doing and think bigger, think longer term. That's all I would want people to think about. You don't have to read all the books that I'm reading. You don't have to go and get celebrities. It doesn't matter what you actually do on the tactic level. It's a strategy. Tactics make people rich. Strategy makes people wealthy and respected. So focus on strategy, not on tactics, and change up your game if that's what it takes.
Josh, again, thank you so much. The appreciation is rolling in on the comments, on the chat. You're a humble, extremely modest, completely unselfish, abundant human. Don't ever change. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to hang out with you in January.
My pleasure. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll see you in January. And if there's anything else that comes up, I'm more than happy to do, if we have to do one more of these or just do something similar, I'm more than happy to do this again. But other than that, I will see you guys in the Dominican Republic.
Fantastic. Appreciate it, Josh. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye.